Okay. We'll call the Board of Education Directors meeting to order. The time is 5:01. Lisa, could you take roll call, please?
Director Rice?
Here.
Director Carter Simon?
Here.
Director Sauter?
Here.
Director Lappin?
Here.
Board Chair Raha?
Here.
Superintendent Norman?
Here. Okay, meeting's called to order. We have a quorum. Any public comment out there? Okay, item 3 is you guys. Okay, a recognition of guests and visitors. The high school students would like to address the board regarding the need for an alcohol drug counselor.
Yes, I have this for you guys.
Okay, thank you.
So if you guys would say your name.
Yes, of course.
You know.
Hi, I'm Abigail Taylor. I'm with the school. I'm a peer helper. I'm Kat, and I am also a peer helper in the Chisholm High School. So this proposal would be for a counselor within the Chisholm High School or school district. We as students and peer helpers have witnessed drug and alcohol become a part of students' everyday lives. In recent years, the use of drugs and alcohol used at school hasn't been that bad. At this point in time, the numbers are skyrocketing. We witness daily the amount of students abusing drugs and alcohol in school. We feel that if we had a counselor more trained for drug and alcohol use within the school, it would help prevent this from reoccurring on a daily basis. Ms. Carter does a wonderful job as a career and mental health counselor, but we feel that she doesn't have the time to be a substance abuse counselor. And even if we couldn't afford a dependency counselor, what resources could we introduce to help our schools? We feel that if you are made aware of this problem now, you can help us with preventing the substance dependency issue in the future.
Okay, any questions for the young ladies?
I'm very familiar with peer helpers, so yeah, very
We
good
are.
program. Thank you for doing it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for bringing it to our attention. Yes.
Next is our business manager, Alex Kaiser. The floor is yours.
Yes, the Superintendent Norman asked me to just review a few basic things with the board, just because we're getting deeper into this project and these conversations, and just keep a few things on our mind so we don't lose sight as we continue on with the process here. So I'm just gonna since I wasn't here for the audit meeting in December, just review that one more time, keep it fresh on your minds, and look at the budget, and then just a few other things that we have going on that I want to address with the board. So on the top of that handout there, it's just the fund balance. Of the 5.2 million that the district has in the bank, you can see that 2.3 million of it is restricted, assigned, committed by the board to a future project or a program that's spoken for. We can't access that other than for what it is intended for. The 914,000 is other funds, debt service, construction, things like that. So what the district has in its bank for use, unassigned use, is the 2.15 million there. That's been pretty stable for the last 5 years. The district's done a good job of maintaining that level. This equates to about 19.99, almost 20% of expenditures. And the school board, a previous school board, has set a minimum of 8%. So well in excess of what the board policy for the fund balance is. So that's good. It sounds like a lot, it looks like a lot, but in reality, it's 75 days of operations. So you'd have, if revenue stream was cut off, you'd have 2.5 months to operate on what you have in the bank. So that's just a review of the fund balance, just to keep in mind where we're sitting as we advance in our project. The next section is the budget. This was what was approved in June. It's straightforward. The revenue of 11.5 million exceeded by expense of 12.27 million for a deficit of almost 745,000. That number is the total deficit, but it also includes some expenditures from the construction fund where there's no corresponding revenue. So you gotta peel that out and peel out transportation and a couple other funds, and the unassigned general fund deficit is about $350,000. It's in line with what has been budgeted in the past. With that said, we're working on a revised budget here to reflect more current enrollment numbers. There's been a few projects that came up that we'll put in the revised budget, but overall, things look to be, for the most part, on track. I can't remember the dollar amount on what you're doing over Easter, but we'll have to talk about that. But, so there's a few changes there, but we'll present a revised in May and then adopted prior to June 30th. And then I just had a few other notes just to keep the board aware of I just had enrollment because it's always important to talk about enrollment. I know it's on the agenda later, but seems to have stabilized and maybe even ticked up a little bit. So that's a good trend, obviously. Heating utilities, we've had heating boiler issues all winter. It's been a cold winter, and the utility bills reflected. We'll revise that for the budget too. But we spent a lot on heating utilities this winter. It looks like so far, probably not done yet. And then health insurance, we're waiting on a renewal from Northeast Service Co-op. They made a 4-year agreement with Medica, moving away from Blue Cross. We expect to get our proposed numbers in April. That's all right. And we're being told that it's going to be a significant decrease in premiums. So good for the employees, good for the district. And save a little money. And then I just had contract settlements. I know you all know what's going on, but teachers and principals are settled. The current funding from the state is 2.45% this year and then 2% next year. So that funding increase covers our negotiated costs going forward for the next 2 years anyways. Retroactive pay was done in February. Minimal issues that I'm aware of, and so thanks to the ladies for getting that done quickly. I know that is appreciated. Yeah, and I mean, the reality is a 2% raise with 8% inflation is still a tough deal, but we do the best we can with what we have. So that's all I had. Do you have any questions or?
I just have one.
Okay.
All of these things that are broken, water lines, pumps, boilers and stuff, when we repair that comes out of our unassigned fund balance, correct?
It can. If we've utilized all our capital and long-term facilities, I think if it was already budgeted to be spent on something else and that money's tapped out, then we have to go to our bank.
Yeah, okay, I get that. Okay. Any other questions for Alex? Thank you.
Thanks, Alex.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alex.
Okay. Okay. Next item is a motion to approve the agenda. We have one item added underneath the personnel portion. And it's a motion to accept the resignation of an ASME employee who wishes to remain confidential for the purpose of retirement, effective April 22nd, 2022. So with that revision, I'm looking for a motion to approve the agenda.
So
Jackie by Cindy. Okay, comments or questions? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item 5, the superintendent report. Adrian.
Thank you. Just wanted to update you on a few items. Number one, a week ago or so, Representative Liz Lagarde took a walking tour of our sites. He is one of the members who co-authored the bill for Chisholm and Hibbing. Spent about an hour with us and took a tour underneath this facility, walked through the high school. He met with some teachers and staff and took a bunch of photos and relayed that to the next bullet point, which was Board Member Lappy and Chair Raha and I met with Representative Marquardt of the House Tax Committee to discuss our proposed bill. Alex was there as well and went over kind of a punch list of what our needs are and condition of our facilities and the fact that we're working with the community to try to figure out some next steps, and felt that we were very supported by them and are interested in continuing to move our bill forward. Some hurdles coming up and some dates on the calendar, and I'll update you when those are and when more information is out there. Any questions on that? So the next bullet point, we were pretty set to interview a few folks, and they either took other jobs or pulled their application, or through a screening process did not make it to the interview table for the NLC director. So we reposted the position and it's just reposted this week. So I'll update you when we have more information there as well. One of the things that we're looking as a superintendent group with the NLC is to explore some different options for NLC students. And a week from Friday, I have a meeting with Mike Ryich and his team, the president of the Northeast Higher Ed. And we're going to discuss a program called Early Middle College. And it would be up to the new leader of the NLC to work the paperwork with MDE and move some of those things forward. But in kind of a basic explanation, it's a PSEO version for students that qualify for an ALC or an NLC. So it's if you are 50% or lower in your class, student of color, if you are free and reduced lunch, first-gen college student, and there might be another qualifier or two, but off the top of my head, it allows you a dual pathway. So you can get a diploma and a degree at the same time, or a certificate. So if it would be geared more towards juniors and seniors that meet that criteria, and they would be dually enrolled and they'd be working on getting their AA degree at the same time they'd be working on getting their high school diploma. And so that's something that we just are starting to scratch the surface on, and we have a meeting to discuss what that might look like. I've done a tour of the facility in Anoka and walked through what their program is, and they have a really solid program where students have opportunities that are right at their fingertips because of the close location. Their ALC is attached to the community college. But in Virginia, you're really close to the community college as well. So I feel this is a program worth exploring. Like I said, a week from Friday, and then I'll get you more information after that meeting. We launched a scaled down version of esports last week during lunch, and over 20 students showed up. He's going to try to schedule a couple days during the week during lunch to get kids in. They're pretty excited, and once we get something going, it'd be kind of neat for you to see what they're doing. So
And who's doing that one?
that's Mr. Hancock, Jesse.
Oh.
Yep. And then the robotics team competed recently down in Duluth, and we were a rookie team, and they didn't build the full robot this year, but they got a base station set up. So they weren't able to launch something to score, but they really were good at playing defense and knocking other robots and teams out of the way. And so the kids had a good time. I enjoyed watching the videos and seeing the pictures, and I think it brought some excitement that it would get more kids involved and more people interested in doing this as we move forward. So, and that's all I had.
Any questions of Adrian? Okay, thank you. Okay. Item 6 is the consent agenda. Crying out loud, dummy. Okay, my bad. I always remind members to shut their phones off, and then I forget. Okay. All right. So the consent agenda reads as follows. Item A is the minutes of the February 28th, 2022 regular meeting. Item B is the payrolls for the month of February in the amount of payroll in the amount of $661,494.50, which is our regular payroll and our February retro payroll, back pay, I guess. And accounts payable for the month of February. I can find it. Where did I put it? There it is. Accounts payable for the month of February, $1,373,756.07. And then item D is, item 1 under D is approve the posting of job number 196, a part-time school readiness classroom assistant for the bond, effective March 25th, 2022. After that, I'm looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda as read. Motion by Shelley, support by Jackie. Any comments or questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you.
MSBA is contacting you during your school
Yeah,
board meeting
yeah,
to get an
yeah.
answer to a question about your school board
And they
meeting.
talked to them on Friday, so, yeah, okay. All right.
Little humor.
A little humor in the meeting, never having, yeah, okay. Okay, moving on to personnel. Item A is a motion to approve the hiring of Katrina Sertich to job number 196, part-time school readiness classroom assistant at the Von Steffensrud, effective March 7th, 2022. Is there a motion? Motion by Jackie, is there support? Support by Cindy. Any comments or questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item B is a motion to accept the resignation of an ASME employee who wishes to remain confidential for the purpose of retirement, effective April 22nd, 2022. Do we have a motion? Motion by Shelley. Support by Jackie. Any comments or questions?
He or she will be missed.
No, I'm just kidding.
We knew that was gonna come.
I never heard of such a thing.
No, there's. So we have a motion and a second to accept the resignation of the ASME employee. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, moving on to the business section. Item A is a motion to award the bid to Tech Check in the amount of $88,418.38 for wireless service for the Chisholm School District effective July 1st, 2022. Joe.
So, just so you guys know, this is under the E-rate program. So 70% of that is paid for by the federal government. So we're responsible for 30%, which is like $26,525.
Okay.
It's to replace all of our Wi-Fi access points in the district.
Oh.
And, you know, they're older technology. They're about 8 years old. They're due for an upgrade. We did get one late bid from CW Technology, but looking at it closely, I think they left something out that would put them way above where Tech Check was, so I'm sticking with that recommendation.
Okay.
So, if you have any questions?
So we had 4 total bids?
Yes. And Tech Check, this was the cheapest. They have worked with other districts in the area, including Gideon and Lynn. So we haven't worked with them before. CW we do work with, but I think they would be substantially higher once their quote is fixed.
So this is, it's like a one-time thing, or as.
So this is a one-time for the hardware. It includes 5 years of the cloud management. And after that, we have to sign either like 1, 3, or 5 year contracts on cloud management.
Okay.
Since the stuff usually lasts about 5 to 8 years. Probably sign a 3-year
Okay.
extension at some point, but that would also be E-rate. So we'd be paying 30%.
Okay.
So how long is the installation? I mean, they gotta go around and put drops and.
So no, we already have all the drops.
Okay,
So, and that's all included
Okay.
in this quote is for them to install and configure everything.
oh, okay. They just go off of what already is there, so.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay. Okay, any other questions for Joe? Thank you. Okay, so looking for a motion to award the bid to Tech Check in the amount of $88,418.38 for wireless service for the Chisholm School District effective July 1, 2022. We have a motion.
So made.
Motion by Jackie,
Support.
support by Danielle. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item B is a motion to approve payment to BSN Sports in the amount of $5,599.98 for the purchase of a scoring table and possession indicator, which we'll need for basketball.
So I can jump in for a second.
Yeah.
So when they added the shot clock, it's gonna add another person that has to be at the table. What we currently have is a short table with kind of an overlay on it. And we're looking at removing in the spring the remainder of the bleachers that are on the floor level to expand some court space. And it would be the folding chairs only down there. And so this would accommodate, I believe it's 8 feet, so it would accommodate that extra person. And then we'd be able to have a shot clock person sitting there.
Okay. Somebody has to operate it.
Yeah, and
It's
know,
not
this isn't-
automatic.
this is, we're a year ahead of folks.
Yeah.
It's not mandated till the following, not next school year, but the following year.
Okay.
But if schools agree and they have a shot clock in place, they can use it throughout the year as kind of a practice year before it's fully implemented the following year.
Great. Okay, so we have a motion to approve that payment to BSN Sports for $55.99.98.
Okay.
Motion by Shelley. The chair will support. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Item C, a motion to approve the collective bargaining agreement between ISD number 695 and the Chisholm principal for the periods of July 1, 2021 through June 30th, 2023, and July 1, 2023 to June 30th, 2025. Do we have a motion? Motion by Cindy. Do we have a second? Second by Jackie. Comments or questions? I just want to say that it was really a nice negotiation. And thanks to the committee, Cindy and Shelley, for participating. We had some questions, they answered them. They had a few things, we answered them, and the meeting took half an hour, which was very nice. So thanks to everybody involved. Okay, we have a motion to approve the principal's contract for the next 4 years. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item D is a motion to approve to accept donations. I'll find it, I know I will.
To the very end.
Okay, here we go. So, resolution accepting a $25 donation from Jim and Joe Verchak in memory of Ron Gornick. Do we have a motion?
So good.
Motion by Jackie, is there a support?
Support.
Support by Cindy. Roll call please, Lisa.
You kill me when you do
I
that.
feel your pain.
No, I don't have you memorized yet either, so. Okay. Director Rice,
Yes.
Director Karati Simon,
Yes.
Director Stoddard,
Yes.
Director Lappy,
Yes.
Board Chair Raha.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, moving on to the discussion. Adrian, would you like to reflect on the DMA?
You previously approved this as a board. Just wanted to let you know 12 teachers took us up on the offer to the Schoology course. That's 6 credits, it's $75 a credit. The 12 teachers equal about $5,400 to get this, and it's will count towards their lane change as well. And that's about double the amount that did the train the trainers. And so I thought that was a good thing. The more the merrier, and the higher end users we have will be a good thing. So I just wanted to share that.
Is there like a equal amount of teachers in all the buildings?
Yeah,
Like-
it's spread out
Oh, okay.
through the district.
Because I would think that would be helpful.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
No doubt.
absolutely. Okay, any questions for Adrian on that? Okay, moving on to information, we have our enrollment numbers, which look pretty good. Up from the last time, which is always encouraging, so they're there for your perusal. Item B is the Facebook report card. Do we get these every month? Facebook things or no?
Hit or miss. When they send them to me, I put them in the packet.
Yeah,
It seems like it's like every other month.
yeah, okay. So we have quite a few hits for a district our size.
So the only thing I was gonna follow up on is, I thought it was really nice that we had the presentation earlier, but what are we gonna do about it? Are we gonna put it on the agenda to follow up, to talk about potentially, you know, drug and alcohol counselor, or what kind of services can we ask, or do we have a plan, I guess?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Or maybe Adrian has some ideas that he wanted to work on and bring back. I don't wanna put it
That's a
on
good
him, you
idea.
know, maybe we should track it, so.
Yeah.
It definitely would, if we were to pursue it, would be something that to get a 1.0 would be a real stretch, but it doesn't mean that we couldn't do some type of sharing with other districts. It's be a very hard position to fill. I do know that there's pending a bill right now of a 350 to 1 ratio for counselors. So if that passes, we would end up another unfunded mandate, forced to hire an additional one. And again, another hard position to fill. But I definitely can bring it up in our superintendent group meets every Thursday morning, and we can talk through what potentially is out there and what that might look like.
And so the only other resource I can think of that might be, you know, interesting to tap is some of maybe the drug and alcohol service people we have in Hibbing, like Partners in Recovery or Mid-Range, just to see, because it is different, they're versus adults versus like youth services, but they may have some ideas, and maybe they maybe there's some services that aren't necessarily cost prohibitive right now, but that they could offer. Do they have groups for adolescents? Do they have meetings? Do they have anything that the peer counselors could maybe incorporate into their information they're given the peers? Like, you know, there's a youth meeting, you know, to, you know, if you want to hit that and get there. So I do think there might be some of those resources, and I know that with COVID, a lot of that stuff got kind of just, you weren't meeting in person, you were doing those things, but I do know that just in my line of work, that Partners in Recovery is a newer, and Lakeview Behavioral Health are newer operations servicing chemical dependency, mental health needs in the Hibbing area, so I thought maybe, you know, maybe there's some resources there for that, because I just think it's really important, and I just wanna make sure that we try to
Follow through.
do
Yeah,
something we can do, and I know, again, a counselor would be wonderful, but, you know, just finding the right person, or, you know, being able to find funding for it now, or maybe budgeting for something we can do.
Right.
Can I ask, Abby, do you feel that this problem has gotten worse without having an officer present in the buildings?
For sure, we see a lot more cases coming in every month.
some of the same students, some newer students that you would never guess would do things of the manner.
Okay.
And we don't have our student, we don't have our officer.
No, we don't.
We don't have enough staff at the.
At the city.
Yeah. I was thinking about that too, because we used to have.
Lynette, did you have a question?
Go ahead,
So
Lynette.
prior to COVID, Reggie had a CD program set up through the NLC that we haven't accessed this year at all that I know of, but it was up and running that we were able to utilize for youth.
Okay. Well,
Does that position still exist?
I'm not sure post-COVID, but
Okay.
maybe when you do your superintendent's meeting
Yeah,
on
I'll
Thursday,
ask.
she would know.
Thank you.
I definitely do think we need to explore options and see, because
Even if it's just
It is a problem.
information,
No doubt,
yeah,
yeah.
even if it's just information that you guys can pass on for, meetings, groups, services.
We do a lot of trainings. We've worked a lot with Mr. Breitbarth, doing mental health training in order to aid our peers. But we would really like to see more of our problems get solved to make the school just a more peaceful place to be and a better place to be in learning.
Very good.
Yeah. So, okay,
Thank you.
so Adrian can check into
Will
that
do.
and see what we can come up with. Great, thanks, Jackie. Okay. Any other information from members? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Jackie, support by Danielle. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. It's 5:33. Thank you, everybody.